All right, so we went to the direct action meeting this morning, and what we learned is that there may not be a direct action today. Vets are still arriving. Temperature is warm. By standards of this time in this place in the country, we're about 29 degrees for a high today, but we're going down to a wind chill of negative 20 tomorrow with 40-mile-an-hour gusts. So direct action might be a rush job on building permanent structures. But we did speak with Remi, who reminded us, an Indigenous vet, Remi, who reminded us why we're here.
We put out a call, and it was answered by Wes Clark Jr., and he came with the intent of helping us in any way, and to also apologize on behalf of the 7th Calvery and the atrocities and genocide that have occurred throughout history on this land. You currently have from about 100 to 140 million people, Indigenous people, that aren't here anymore due to the same policy that we're experiencing to this day, in terms of the pipeline that we're up against. Service is what you get when you bring your car to a mechanic. I was used in the military to secure natural resources for corporations overseas, and now it's here. And so I take issue when somebody says thank you for your service.
Well, first of all, it's good to see you, okay? I just want to say that it's great to see you, Dennis.
This camp is not going anywhere.
No, it's quite beautiful.
It is quite beautiful.
And it touches me deeply.
I was talking to Remi. Do you know Remi?
I know Remi.
So he moved me this morning when he described the spirit with which veterans were coming humbly in apology to say the armed forces have participated in that genocide that you talked about.
It's true. And whether we did it personally or not, we're all part of that. We're all part of that genocide that happened. And we need to make up for that.
Well.
And I also see this, what's happening here, this Indigenous-led, this First Nation-led thing as so critical and so important, because these are people here in America who are still and have always been in touch with the earth. The earth is sacred to them, and we, generally white society, white Western society, has lost that sense of sacredness. And if we're going to survive as a human species, we need to redevelop that. We need to reawaken that in our consciousness. And here it's awake.
How do Indigenous communities treat Two-Spirit or transgender individuals differently than the rest of the United States of America?
Well, before colonization happened, we were revered in our communities. We held powerful positions in our communities, and we were not turned away for our differences. When colonization happened, religion more in particular, our roles and our way of life was seen as wrong or bad, and so we were some of the first people that were wiped out during colonization, and so through assimilation, a lot of those roles have changed, and Two-Spirit people have even been removed from their communities, from our indigenous communities, but we are reclaiming our place in this sacred circle.
How do you define victory?
I would define victory in all the goodness that people will take from here. Because that's the power of prayer. If I do something good for you, you're going to remember that, and you're going to take that with you. Somebody's going to be in need, and you're going to help them. That's the power of prayer, whether you see it like that or not. Yeah. So the term of victory for me was to continue to see people helping each other, sharing that love and caring for each other, and stop this hate that's already been, that's been present since the beginning.
So we just got the news that DAPL lost the permit David Archibald is walking out to make the announcement, although I think everyone in the camp already knows it.
It was, it's true. If you want to know, there's a lot of things that people say and it's never confirmed, and I never believe anything until I hear it myself. Today, the Department of Army, Joe Allen Darcy, contacted me and said the Corps of Engineers is going to deny the easement. They're also going to deny, they're asking for a reroute and a full environmental impact statement. So these are things that we've been asking for from the beginning, and it's symbolic. Today is a moment in time that we'll all remember. Our people deserve better lives in this nation. So today, I know it's a good feeling, and we still have to remain in prayer. We still have to remain peaceful. That's what helped us win. The prayer and peace is what got us here and what made us victory. And we were told this. We were told this by our youth who started this movement to remain nonviolent. We were told by our elders to remain nonviolent. We were told by the spirits to remain nonviolent. And if you remain nonviolent, you will be successful. If you think about it, and if you realize what has happened is that we have over 10,000 people coming together and creating a community that self-polices, that self-organizes, and you all did that. I didn't do that. The tribe didn't do that. You did that.
You and you're part of the youth that kicked off this movement. Talk about that experience. How did you organize?
Well, in the very beginning, when we figured out that there was a pipeline supposed to be built, there was people that came into our schools and started talking to us about what was happening. And so several youth stepped up and said, I want to talk about this, and I want to let people know what's happening. And so that's really how it all kicked off, was just youth stepping up and saying, this can't happen. It's not acceptable.
What's next after this victory?
What's next is we're doing some movements with the banks. We're still gonna tell the banks to pull out their money, because what they're doing is unlawful. They're funding unlawful things. They're funding people to get shot at with rubber bullets. They're funding people to get maced and sprayed with fireman hose. It's like they're paying for people to get hurt.
This is a gathering of grassroots people that when I got here back in August, I was one little tent over in that field, and now it's grown to thousands of people recognizing that we need to change the relationship of people to fossil fuels. We need to change how we treat Indigenous peoples in this country in 2016 and change the relationship of Indigenous peoples all over the world. These projects happen in our communities. They impact us first and worst. We are not sacrifice zones, and that's what the message that we've sent with this huge win of the highest levels of government having to respond to what we've been doing here.
What's next for Oceti Sakowin camp? This is a permanent settlement now.
This is a stand for treaty rights. This is a stand against the continued violations of treaties that have happened throughout history and have continued into 2016. It's 2016 and we're talking about treaty rights being violated. We know that the next administration's coming in and that we have to stay strong. But as it stands right now with these players today, we won.
So the camp stays?
I mean, I don't see any movement. I don't see anyone planning to leave this anytime soon. And we've shown that we're Indigenous peoples. We know how to survive on our own lands. So, that whole concern, that faux concern that we saw from the administration, we saw from law enforcement, as they were hitting us with water cannons in sub-freezing temperatures, we're from here. We know how to live here.